Tonight, paid sick leave approved by the San Antonio City Council, but the ordinance still faces challenges. A California company could be hired to help tackle homelessness in the Alamo City. Plus, a new option for those who want the home selling process to be quicker and easier. We'll talk about the pros and cons of what's known as iBuying. Thanks for joining us for KSAT News at 9 from right here in the KSAT 12 newsroom. I'm Myra Arthur. In a vote of 8-3 today, the San Antonio City Council approved the earned paid sick leave ordinance. The council members who voted against it included Rebecca Villagran, Manny Pelaez, and Clayton Perry. They were all no's here. The paid sick leave fight has been going on for more than a year now. The council first approved the ordinance in August of 2018. It was supposed to take effect on August 1st of this year, but then a lawsuit delayed that until December. That's when a special city commission stepped in and proposed making some changes. Among those, businesses would no longer need to offer paid sick leave to unpaid interns. And instead of having different requirements for different companies, all employees would be able to accrue 56 hours of leave per year, no matter the size of their employer. Despite the changes, not everyone happy with today's news.
I'm not saying they can't afford it. They're going to cut back on not only employees, but if they're offering benefits already, they're going to cut those back to have to cover this requirement.
Everyone agrees that sick leave is good for businesses, it's good for families, it's good for communities. We're moving forward with great confidence that we have a ordinance that protects workers and that does so given all the legal considerations that we've heard.
Well, this ordinance is set to take effect on December 1st, but it is still currently facing a legal challenge. We'll continue to follow it. Also discussed in the City Council today, the city's plan of potentially reaching out to a California company to address homelessness in the Alamo City. It's a $128,000 contract that would be given to the company's Center for Common Concerns home base, but that was put on hold after some questions today about what exactly is in that contract. The company would be hired to form a homeless strategic plan and would hold community meetings and gather information on possible solutions to homelessness in San Antonio. But some raised concerns over a California firm being the one chosen for this.
And I was just wanting to make sure that they weren't doing this in California because they have issues, big issues over there. And how can they help us solve ours here when they have bigger problems over there?
The vote on this contract approval was postponed until October 17th. Coming up tonight on the Night Beat, hear how some say that their communities are changing because of homelessness here and why the governor is now getting involved. You can now sell your house with the click of a mouse. It's a trend that you might not have heard of before, but it's happening right here in the Alamo City. It's something called iBuying. The real estate website Zillow just announced that it's getting into this game as well. Tiffany Huertas helps us understand how iBuying works.
There are no limits when selling online. Now you can sell your home too.
There's a lot of homeowners that just don't have the time or maybe the resources to get their home ready or the patience.
That's where Zillow Offers comes in handy. Online real estate site Zillow recently launched the program in San Antonio. It's also available in 18 other markets.
What Zillow's doing is they're opening it up to all the consumers in San Antonio, which they can go to Zillow.com and request an offer on their property. And within 48 hours, Zillow will have them an offer on their property, and they can close as soon as 7 days or as late as 90 days.
This practice is known as iBuying. Zillow says its initial offers are based in part on an algorithm that takes into account recent comparable sales in the neighborhood and any data, records, owner feedback that Zillow has on a particular home. But it also works with the broker partners team to make sure their offers are at fair market value. Zillow isn't the first to offer this option. Ricardo Luna Rodriguez used Open Doors program. He originally planned on selling his home the traditional way.
A lot of times the realtor had a showing and you had like 30 minutes to get out.
That's when Rodriguez decided to take a different approach.
Went online, you put your particulars of your home. Approximately 24 to 72 hours later, they come with an offer. And if you accept the offer, then the next process is an inspection team. They gave us the offer. And after the offer was accepted, they allowed us anywhere between 6 to 9 months to build your forever home.
Open Door says since launching in San Antonio in March 2018, it's served more than 1,800 local buyers and sellers. Once Open Door buys your home, they make minor renovations and sell it. Open Door currently has 149 homes on the market to sell and is expecting to add 82 more homes. But what does this mean for San Antonio's real estate agents?
The programs are actually relatively small in terms of the usage. Less than about 5% of sellers actually use the program. So for the majority of agents, it really is not going to have very much impact at all.
The San Antonio Board of Realtors chair-elect says these programs may work for some people, but not for everyone.
They can be very effective for some people. If you have a lot of equity in your home, it can be a very useful product, especially if you are short on time. So it's really a convenience factor. But I would say the big thing about iBuyer programs is they really are only going to be as good as long as the market stays healthy.
Eventually, Zillow will offer homes for sale, but for now, it's just for people to sell their homes. Myra?
All right, thank you, Tiffany. You might have seen a lot of coverage over the last couple of years of what's happening in Bexar County Precinct 2, the constable there, and the turmoil surrounding her, Michelle Barrientos Vela. She has been the subject of multiple investigations by the KSAT 12 defenders Dylan Collier over the last couple of years. And this week, you, our viewers, sent in questions that you had about what's going on in Precinct 2 and the job of a constable. Today, we hosted a live stream on our website on KSAT.com for a Dylan to Answer Questions, a Q&A, to get your answers to your questions about what's happening there. Here's part of that conversation.
A question we got asked actually several times is, what are the duties of a constable and why do we need them?
Constables in the state of Texas are in charge of guarding justice of the peace courtrooms. So these are courtrooms where a lot of traffic citations are held, eviction notices are carried out, sort of that either very low level misdemeanor cases or civil lawsuits that are less than $1,000. So, you know, busy courtrooms, but not at the level of like a murder trial or a felony of any kind. And they're also in charge of handing out civil paperwork. So again, eviction notices, if you have a notice to appear in a civil case, a lot of times a constable will be in charge of delivering that paperwork to you in a timely manner so that you know that you have a court appearance coming up.
Bexar County is moving forward with a potential replacement for Barrientos Vela after she enacted the resign to run law, meaning that she has to resign under state law after she announced recently that she planned to seek the sheriff's office in 2020. Her expected replacement is going to be Leticia Vasquez. She could be appointed next week. We'll continue to follow that and let you know what happens. A giant settlement made after the mass shooting in Las Vegas. A drug ringleader is now headed to prison after an operation that began right here in San Antonio. And a bar in Florida takes down its decor to give to the Bahamas after Hurricane Dorian. This is tonight's 9 at 9. More than a year after the murder of a local man, an arrest has been made in that case.
Brandon Cornelius was gunned down outside of a Northside nightclub in June of 2018.
Jamark Washington has been charged with murder. MGM Resorts has announced a massive settlement with the victims of the Las Vegas shooting. They've agreed to pay as much as $800 million to the victims and their families.
And attorneys say it's still unclear exactly how the money will be divided. MGM says it expects the entire payout process to be completed by the end of next year.
In France, an attacker armed with a knife kills 4 people at police headquarters. The suspect was shot and killed. No motive has been named.
A major player in the distribution of laced opioid pills is on his way to federal prison for 30 years.
Mohammed Alawi was sentenced in federal court today. He was charged with distributing fentanyl-laced oxycodone pills through a major distribution ring that began operating here in San Antonio.
Alawi is an Iraqi national. He once worked for the U.S. government as an interpreter. Once he completes that 30-year prison term, he'll be deported.
A Florida business is donating thousands of dollars to the Bahamas for Hurricane Dorian relief. For years, customers have been leaving dollar bills on the walls of a Florida bar. But once the staff saw the damage left in the nearby Bahamas after Hurricane Dorian, they decided to take down that money and use it for some good.
If I've hung up a dollar bill in the last 3 to 5 years, it's on its way to the Bahamas. It's really cool.
In the end, they had nearly $14,000 to donate. One person sent to the hospital after a carjacking and police chase in Dallas. Police say it all started when the suspect dragged a man out of his truck and then drove off. After leading officers on a chase, the suspect got out and ran off. Police are still searching for him. San Antonio police say a woman escaped from her van after a crash just moments before it burst into flames. This happened at Loop 410 near Old Pearsall Road. Luckily, no one was hurt. A device designed to clean up plastic floating in the ocean is finally doing its job. The latest prototype of the device is able to capture and hold debris ranging in size from huge items to microplastics as small as 1 millimeter. The news comes after some issues with that device. Scientists have discovered butterflies have built up an immunity to poison. They eat the poisonous plant milkweed, and they store the toxins in their bodies to use as a defense mechanism against birds. Monarchs evolved to eat the plant, unlike most other insects that die from the poison. To read more about these 9 stories, go to ksat.com/news@9.
You've probably heard a lot about the 2020 election, but there's actually another election coming up right here in Texas next month, and you're running out of time to register. Here's what's on the ballot and important dates to keep in mind. Texans will vote on 10 amendments to the state constitution. The Texas Constitution was written in 1876 and has been amended nearly 500 times by voters. But according to election officials, these elections typically have low voter turnout. According to the League of Women Voters in San Antonio, only 3% of registered Bexar County voters turned out to cast the ballot during the last amendment election in 2017. The amendments on the ballot this year include a proposal to ban the state income tax and give Texas parks and historic sites the maximum funding from sporting goods. Also on the ballot next month, the mayorship for the city of Converse, plus a few city council seats in Converse and Castle Hills. The deadline to register to vote is on Monday. You can pick up a voter registration application at the Bexar County Registrar's office or pick up a copy at other locations like libraries and most post offices. Early voting starts on October 21st. Election Day is November 5th. We'll have everything you need to know about the election day, including a sample ballot, on our website at ksat.com/news@9. For the 9, I'm Ferris Sabawi.
You're watching KSAT News at 9, and we'll be back in just 1 minute.
Welcome back to KSAT's News at 9. I'm meteorologist Katie Blake, and yes, we will talk all about that cool front coming next week. But first, I want to get you up to date on the drought monitor. This is updated each Thursday, and after a few very dry months, drought conditions have been spreading across South Texas, unfortunately. So this is how things looked last week. We did have a couple of pockets here, a big pocket off to the southwest of extreme drought, and unfortunately, we are seeing extreme drought conditions spreading, especially up the I-35 corridor toward the Austin area, over in Gonzales County, and also in far southern Bexar County, northern Atascosa County, and western Wilson County as well. So rain is much needed. Unfortunately, even though we're talking a cool front early next week, rain chances will be hard to come by. As we get into Friday, we'll have a 20% chance of an isolated passing shower. If you run into one of those tomorrow afternoon, not going to be an issue, especially for our Friday evening football games and the weekend ahead. Lots of sunshine, very warm with high temperatures in the mid-90s, so it may seem like that cool front is really far away, but it's going to roll in early on Monday morning. And while things won't be cold behind this front next week, It's going to be a lot more comfortable outside. We'll see our dew point temperatures drop a little bit this weekend. Afternoon dew points in the upper 50s, low 60s. That's not too bad, but look how they nosedive next week, Monday into Tuesday. Dew points in the 50s down to dew points in the 30s. The air will be much more dry, and it's just going to feel really comfortable out there. A little bit on the cool side next week, especially in the morning. So here's how things play out this weekend. Into your Friday afternoon, a front that's to our north today will kind of skirt us to the north and to the east and not affect our forecast, keeping us hot for the next few days. As we get into Saturday, that front is moving into North Texas. We're still mostly sunny with highs in the 90s. Similar story again on Sunday, but by Sunday evening, we'll be looking into North Texas to see where that front is, timing it out for you, rolling into San Antonio and South Texas during the first part of the day on Monday. I'm going to put in a 20% chance of a shower with this front, but we are really far removed from the good rain-making energy with that frontal boundary, so really we're just looking at a chance of a passing shower early on Monday before bigger changes roll in terms of temperatures and humidity. Overnight tonight, temperatures falling into the low to mid 70s, warm and partly cloudy through the start of the day on Friday. A 20% chance of a shower from Friday morning into Friday afternoon. High temperatures back in the 90s, 93 your high temperature on Friday in San Antonio, staying warm through the weekend, 94 on Saturday, 95 on Sunday, and here come our changes on Monday. Again, a low end chance of rain with this frontal boundary moving through, but things will become breezy by midday on Monday. Humidity will start to take a dive and will only be in the low 80s Monday afternoon. Check out your morning low temperatures heading into the middle and latter part of next week. With that lower humidity in place, it's going to be very comfortable.
A federal grant will help combat gang activity in Bexar County. $230,000 was awarded to the Bexar County Juvenile Probation Division, which focuses on getting young people away from gangs. It will be delivered over a 3-year period. That money will be used to support intensive individual and family counseling for teens in gangs or at high risk of gang involvement. The counseling also provides support for a new specialty court we told you about on KSAT back in August. 289th District Court Judge Carlos Quesada says the program includes youth enrichment activities as well as bi-weekly meetings with the judge. Let's turn now to some of the biggest stories making headlines around America tonight. The 20-year-old man accused of killing a woman and injuring several other people in a California synagogue pleaded not guilty in court today. Prosecutors say nursing student John Ernest opened fire at a synagogue near San Diego on the last day of Passover in April. He's facing murder charges in that shooting and arson charges for a fire in a mosque the previous month. San Diego's district attorney is not expected to decide whether to pursue the death penalty for at least another month. Ernest is also facing more than 100 hate crime charges in a separate federal case against him. He could also face capital punishment in that case. The bird population is declining in North America. It's down 3 billion since 1970 across the U.S. and Canada. That's according to a new study. Blackbirds and warblers saw the greatest declines. Some factors include losing their habitats and more pesticide usage. After more than 1,200 measles cases this year, the U.S. was in jeopardy of losing its elimination status on that disease. But the CDC now says it expects the country to keep that distinction. The World Health Organization granted it that status back in 2000, but the WHO can remove it if the U.S. sees a measles outbreak that lasts at least a year. Today is Throwback Thursday, so tonight here on the News at 9, it is time for our Throwback Thursday series where we use that popular hashtag as an excuse to examine historic events and people and places that have all helped shape our community. Tonight we're taking a look at a building that has been a signature symbol of the San Antonio skyline for more than 5 decades. RJ Marquez shares the story of the Tower of the Americas.
Construction at the Tower of the Americas began in 1966. It was completed a year and a half later, in time for the San Antonio World's Fair, known as Hemisphere 68.
50 years ago, World Fair were huge. So Chicago had a World's Fair, London had a World's Fair, so they all had World's Fair, and San Antonio had theirs in 68. The tower was the focal point of that.
The Tower of the Americas was designed by local architect O'Neill Ford and made an immediate impression on residents and tourists alike. It stands an impressive 750 feet above the ground. An elevator ride to the observation deck takes a minute and a half. There, 6 panels tell the story of Texas. But the story of the tower is one of durability. Even though it's been part of the city skyline for years, that almost was not the case.
There was a monorail for the World's Fair, which would have been cool to have now. That was taken apart. There was all sorts of things that were just built for that, taken down, and then the city just built over it and went on. But San Antonio saw the value in this focal point of San Antonio.
The Tower of the Americas was the tallest observation tower in the United States from 1968 to 1996. It remains the tallest building in San Antonio and the 27th tallest in the state of Texas. From the observation deck, you could see 25 miles out on a beautiful clear day like this. Fast forward to the future. The tower plans to become more interactive for guests. It will also continue to host nonprofit events and fundraisers for breast cancer awareness, cystic fibrosis, and the 9/11 Tower Climb. It's about reaching out to the community as a beacon of San Antonio.
It's San Antonio's building. This is for San Antonio. It's the focal point along with the Alamo and the Riverwalk, but people know the tower.
For The 9, I'm RJ Marquez.
Throwback Thursday, just one of the series that we feature exclusively here on the News at 9. Here's a look at some of the others that we have. Be sure to watch tomorrow night for a look back at the week's biggest headlines. That's when we'll have the Week in 210. Let's go to KSAT.com now to find out what's trending tonight with Farah Sabawi.
Myra, it is so good to have you back. We missed you while you were gone. Absolutely.
Glad to be here.
We had to be up here with Steve. It was scary. It's a scary new man.
You tell me about it.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I'll
tell you the rest of it later. But a lot of great stories that we've been working on KSAT.com. Something that we've talked about before, but we wanted to bring up again because it's coming up really soon, is the Wiener Dog races are set to come back to San Antonio, the Doctoberfest, it's called.
Doctoberfest.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so this is kind of another round of the races that they had not that long ago, right?
Yeah. It's something that they do every year, and it's a really fun little race, with wiener dogs. There's a lot of good categories for your dog to enter. It's for dachshunds of all shapes and sizes, and there's even a turtle category for dogs with disabilities.
A turtle category?
Yeah.
Okay, and we should note that if you go watch this video, our very own Mary Claire and our digital team, her dog is in this video.
One of our own web producers is featured, her dog is featured very prominently in the video. Now he does cross the finish line like close to last, but you know what? There are some dogs that didn't even cross the finish line.
He finished.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what counts.
He completed the race.
That's what counts. Next up, we're San Antonio's been really excited about this, but one of an Oscar-winning actor, really well-known name, Michael Keaton, will be here for Alamo City Comic Con in 2019.
Okay, this got a lot of people talking in here. What's your favorite Michael Keaton movie? What's your favorite?
Yeah, well, for me, honestly, I grew up with those Batman movies. I loved them, but I actually really like Birdman, and as a journalist and in the newsroom, I loved Spotlight. One of my favorites.
Yeah, Spotlight was great.
Yeah.
I actually have never seen Birdman, but Beetlejuice,
Beetlejuice is fantastic.
Yeah.
San Antonio fans have been so excited for this, and he's actually going to be available for, photo ops with the fans on the last day of Comic-Con.
All right, so all the dates and everything in that website.
All on the website. You can purchase the tickets, and we have all the links in there, so easy for you, one place to go to, and it's all right there.
Awesome.
Myra, we complain about rent in San Antonio quite a bit.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I know I do, especially around the first of the month, so it wasn't that long ago that I was complaining about it. But recently, in San Diego, California, a backyard shed is up for rent for $1,050 a month.
$1,000 a month for a shed. Anything special about the shed?
It's in a walkable neighborhood, Myra.
Oh, then of course, right?
Well, if it's in a walkable neighborhood. But yeah, no, there's nothing too special. It's a pretty small shed. There's not even room to park your car. Parking is not included in this deal.
Is there a bathroom?
I think there is one bathroom. I think they fit it in there somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know, it just has us thinking about, you know, again, we complain about rent all the time, so I wanted to see how would this compare to San Antonio. And according to apartmentlist.com, now they follow renting trends across the nation. A 2-bedroom, the median rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in San Antonio is $1,083, just to give you some reference.
Okay,
here.
so, you know, maybe.
Yeah.
We complain a little less at the first of the month.
Maybe we can be a little more grateful, and anyone in California, come on over. We'd love to have you.
We've seen a lot of that here in Texas.
Yeah, and I see why now. I see why now.
All right, thanks, Ferris.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Alicia Barrera, and these are your weekend picks to kick off October. We're kicking the month off in style, so put on your lederhosen and head over to Oktoberfest at the Tower of the Americas. There's going to be beer tastings, live music, and of course, German cuisine. Also, the first guest to arrive will get their choice of a free bratwurst or a free pretzel. Tickets start at $35, and the fun kicks off at 2 p.m. And if you want a fun place to wind down on Saturday night, the place to be is the Mission Marquee Plaza. The City of San Antonio World Heritage Office will be hosting a free screening of McFarlane USA, along with food trucks and vendors. Don't forget to bring your lawn chairs, blankets, and snacks. That movie starts at 7 p.m. And if you've ever wondered what it's like to be eye level with a bug, well, there's big bugs at the San Antonio Botanical Gardens. They're hosting David Rogers' Big Bugs touring exhibits. There's 10 massive creature sculptures that stand as tall as 25 feet, and they're all made of natural materials. The exhibit is included with regular price of admission that starts at $9. You have until December 8th. For more on these events and everything happening around San Antonio for the first weekend of October, you can head over to KSAT.com. For the 9, I'm Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
This is your daily tech and business briefing from Cheddar. Kroger is gearing up to lay off hundreds of employees across its stores. The grocer is reportedly targeting middle management jobs as the company's turnaround plans stall. This comes as it faces increased competition from Walmart and Amazon. Kroger's workforce counts 443,000 full and part-time employees. It also owns Harris Teeter and Ralph's. Layoffs also coming to America's Sports Bible. The new owner of Sports Illustrated is reportedly planning to replace 40 jobs at the magazine with 200 contract workers. Startup The Maven is making changes since it bought the rights to license SI earlier this year. Uber wants you to get to the chopper. The company's expanding its helicopter service in New York City, giving users the option of hailing a chopper from Lower Manhattan to JFK, provided, of course, they have about $200 to spare for the trip, which aims to save people at least half an hour. And that's your Cheddar Business and Tech Update. I'm Hope King from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
Thanks for watching KSAT News at 9. That is all our time tonight. I'm Myra Arthur. We'll see you right back here tomorrow.